My name is Amber Nicholson, and I'm with AARP Missouri, and I'd like to welcome you to our brand new functional movement class. This 8-week class will put the fun in functional movement and is led by our fabulous instructor, Tyler Ferguson. Functional movement is designed to build both strength and flexibility to carry out everyday tasks and let you improve your fitness level regardless of where you're starting. Speaking fitness, you may find many of our previous fitness classes on Missouri's YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/AARP Missouri. Functional movement is a class that is suitable for many levels of fitness. However, you know your own limitations. Please do not try to go beyond what you know is right for you. If you have any concerns, please check with your doctor before participating in this or any other AARP fitness offerings. AARP Missouri is also offering other live classes. Currently, we have a Zumba Light class, and we have links to past programs like Forever Fit and Yoga with Tyler that you can participate in from recordings. You can find these links to current, past, and upcoming programs at aarp.org/movingit. All of our programming is created with people 50 plus in mind, but it's good for anyone of any age, anywhere. AARP hopes that our fitness class, like functional movement, will be great options for anyone who may not be able to or may be hesitant to attend traditional fitness classes, in particular, maybe even caretakers, or if those giving health reasons or just the convenience of working out at home. In addition to our online fitness classes, AARP also has resources for caregivers, up-to-date COVID-19 information, and technology information on our website at aarp.org/nearyou. So now let's get started with functional movement. Tyler, let's have some fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first in a series of 8 classes. I'm going to switch my screen here to put me as the speaker. There we go. So this is the first in a series of 8 classes, and just a couple announcements before we get started. It's a body weight class. You don't need any equipment, but just some room to work in, and then maybe a chair or a wall. I'm going to use this to help me with my balance, just so you can see my feet better, but you can just work with the chair. The other thing I'd like to encourage you to do is maybe consider going barefoot if you feel that's safe and comfortable for you. And I do mean barefoot, not socks, because as you move laterally, I don't want you to slide on the floor. So let's get started. We'll start by standing and just arriving into our space for a moment and preparing ourselves to move. You want your feet to be about hips distance apart, and look down and notice the direction that your toes are pointing. Notice if you have a foot that likes to point over off into one direction, or maybe even both feet. Can you take a moment to resolve that, bringing the toes forward, maybe even opening the heels the slightest bit? And then be aware of that during your practice today, the tendency as you move to turn those toes away and not keep them forward, tracking forward to the front of the room. Once you've got your toes forward, just rock back and forth and feel your feet into the floor or the mat or whatever surface you're working on today. And take a moment to feel what that surface is. Is it hard? Is it cold? Is it fuzzy? And then feel the bottoms of your feet. So I'll cue the big toe mound. That's where the big toe inserts into the foot. So press into your big toe mound. But I'll also cue the piggy toe mound. So you'll notice if you keep a lot of weight in the inside of your foot and your piggy toe mound lifts, can you press your piggy toe mound in as much as your big toe mound? And then of course your heel. We're trying to put the weight evenly in those 3 places. So go ahead and move around and get your weight even. And you might notice that your hips are right above the arches of your feet and the shoulders are above your hips. Let's inhale the arms up, just out to the side. Exhale the arms down to the side. So we're going to do a warm up here for about 10 minutes. Just follow me. Inhale the warm arms up, exhale them down. Before we get into the functional movement patterns, inhale the arms up. Exhale the arms down. Anything that I offer to you today, if you have any pain, please stop and we'll discuss it afterwards. Leave your arms elevated and just roll your palms open and then roll your palms back down. And then notice if you can feel this movement at your shoulders. I can just rotate at my wrist, but I want you to try to open up the shoulders and then internally rotate, externally and internally rotate the shoulders. If you have shoulder issues and you can't reach your hands above your head, just stay here and work in this range today. Otherwise, reach above your head with me and then pretend like you're reaching for stars. I know you can't see the tops of my fingers, but just reaching through one side and then the other side of the body. Notice if you're still into your feet, big toe mound, pinky toe mound, and heel, and just reach up and grab some stars and pull them down. We're trying to lengthen through the side body, stretch the skin, make room for your rib cage to expand, for your lungs to expand. Keep breathing while you do this work. Last one. And bring your hands back down. Now you have some options where to put your hands. You can put them right behind your head here, but please don't press your head forward. Keep your ears over your shoulders, elbows up and out. Now I'm going to create length on this left side of my body by lifting the elbow up, other elbow drops down, lateral flexion, and back up to center. Left elbow lifts and links, staying on the same side, and back to the center. So we're creating space between the rib cage and the pelvis as we move laterally through the spine like this. So think about lifting and lengthening each time you dip over to the side. Maybe one or two more times here. You'll notice that as the one elbow goes up, the other elbow goes down. Come back to the middle, bring your elbows together. And then open them wide, like you're flapping your wings like a bird at spring. You're flying free, elbows together. If you want to move just a little bit slower than I'm moving right now, please do. As I talk and exercise at the same time, I tend to speed up just a little bit faster than my intentions. Let's work laterally to this side now. So think about how this feels in your spine and in the skin on that right side of the body along, or whatever side you're lengthening along the rib cage. And then notice before I go over, I get a little length, a little lift before I work over. Now the plane that you're working in is if the wall in front of me just came right to my front and the wall behind me came right to my back, I could still slide between those two spaces and work in this little lateral movement. Let's do two more of these here. Just getting the spine warmed up. Always continue to breathe with the work. I've already lost count. We'll do one more just for good measure. And then bring your hands together. We've done this one before. Shoot your fingertips forward. Keep the shoulders down and away from the ears. And let the back of your back round to the space behind you. Now separate the hands. Pull the chest forward and expand across your chest. Inhale here. Exhale, shoot and round. So you're not really moving in your pelvis so much. It's just in your spine around the rib cage. Pull your heart open. Stretch. Full extension at the elbows here. So we don't have soft elbows. Fully extend. Get the biceps nice and stretched and elongated. And then fully extended through the arms, we're going to stretch through the chest. Sometimes when I talk, I point to the body part, and I know you, as the practitioner, might point to the body part too. So just know that I do that sometime. All right, bring your hands up in front of you. Just elevate your shoulder, pull it back and down. Elevate shoulder, back and down. Just a couple elevations and depressions, and then drive your fist down to the ground. Notice the distance between the shoulders and your ears. So this is a good thing to observe during class today. It's a good thing to observe while you're driving. It's a good thing to observe while you're at the computer. So try to avoid turtling throughout the day. Notice if you're holding all that tension up, drive the shoulders down and away and create that space. Okay, moving into the spine just a little bit more. Come into your chair pose. Take your pelvis and your tailbone, you're going to lengthen it down to the heels in your floor. So you'll be a little round in the back here. And then you're going to lift your tail up in the back. So you're going to be a little sassy in the back here. So take the pelvis, the tail down, and then lift it up. So now we're just trying to isolate, move through the pelvis, warm that up a little bit. from chair pose. And then pause with me here. Your tail is a little sassy. Now open your chest a little bit. So you have a cow pose in your back, standing cow pose. And then round your spine, standing cat pose. Move yourself into standing cow and standing cat. Sorry, I'll try not to take my voice and my direction away from the camera. So just a couple more times, working the spine into flexion and extension here. And we'll finish up, come up standing, make our way down to our hip roots. We've done hip roots if you've been with me before. Sit your hips back and off to the side. You might feel a stretch in the upper part of your hip or your IT band. And then stand tall. Send your hips in the other direction. So if you're working with a mat, you'll notice that your feet are on the mat and your hips are just drifting over the plane of where the mat is. Take a moment to just allow the stretch to happen. And then maybe move a little bit with this one. So we're going to start in our original position, swish back to the other side, swish back to your starting side, stand up. Now let's start with a hip root in the other direction. Swish back and over, swish back to the original part, start, and come up to standing. Now you can start to just take some circles in the hips. So this should, anything we do should feel, it should either feel good or feel doable. If you have any pain in the movements that we're doing, stop. I'll give you suggestions for moving away from pain, but if you can't move away from pain, just stop with that exercise and we can chat it out at the end of class and we might have to get some additional help with it. All right, down to the toes, my friends. Let's warm up our feet. Lift and spread all your toes off the ground. Notice your big toe mound and your piggy toe mound are down, but the toes are lifted. And then spread them and place them down onto the mat. Lift them again and almost pull the toes forward. You're trying to lengthen through the feet, spread the toes, and place them down on the mat. Third and final time, lift up the toes, keep them spread. Now just isolate the big toes, press the big toes into the mat. Try to keep the other 4 toes floating. The great toe is in the mat. Lift it up. One more time. Big toe presses into the mat. And lift it up. Let's go to the piggy toe now. Piggy toe presses down into the mat. And lift it up. Piggy toe presses down into the mat. And pick it up. All 10 toes go down on the mat. Now don't curl them under. Keep the pads, the bottom of the toes down, and slightly pull the toes back toward the heel. You'll feel the arch lift. So think about that arch, that strong arch, and then start to zip together. Maybe energetically pull the feet toward one another and light up your inner thighs and start to stand nice and tall. Grow tall through the spine, shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders. Inhale the arms up, reach up. Now, when I have you inhale the arms up, you might be right out in front. That's fine. Some of you might bring your biceps right along your ears. That's fine too. Anybody with a shoulder injury, just stay right here across your chest if you can't reach above your head. Another option is to grab wrists or elbows. So take your option for spinal circles, and then we're going to move over to the side. Dip down in front, hinge at the hips, slight bend of the knee, and wind up on the other side. Just feel these gentle little circles in your spine. Your hands don't have to be above your head. Remember, they can be right at your chest. And then we'll take our circles in the other direction. Our last little bit of juice to warm up our joints and get ready for our functional workout today, which will just be a series of squats and lunges and movements that you might find yourself doing. I don't know about you, but it's spring cleaning. I'm working in my garden and I'm cleaning out my house. I'm hauling out boxes of stuff. All of those movements, we're just going to train today to do those movements better. All right, if you finished up with your warm up, meet me and with your hips distance apart, with your feet hips distance apart. and let's sit back in our chair once again. Hands gonna go right on top of the thighs. Now in this squat, we're gonna do a lot of these squats today. I wanna be able, if you had a logo on your t-shirt, I wanna see and be able to read your logo. In other words, I don't want you to do this. That's not a squat, that's you using your back. I want you to use your hips or your pelvis, bring it lower, okay? So think about getting your seat lower to the ground. Come to whatever distance works for you, and then we're just gonna start with these little pulses. And as we find these little pulses, we don't come to full standing. I want you to try to put the weight more in your heels. So as you're pulsing like this, can you lift and almost wiggle your toes? So the weight is more in the heel. And that's where I want you to drive from. It's not how far we get down to the ground, but it's the drive and the standing up. So hopefully you felt the weight in your heels. Now let's stand tall. Sit whatever distance you want to sit and stand tall. So here we are, we're off, we're doing the workout. Again, if you want to move a little bit more quickly than I'm moving, or a little bit slower than I'm moving, you don't have to follow me. This is just a suggestion. This is just the workout or the activity that we're doing, which is a squat right now. Now you'll notice my hands. I'm gonna push off my thighs, and then when I come to standing, I'm driving my knuckles down to the ground, and that'll help me draw my shoulders down and away from my ears. You might also see that I'm turning my palms forward, and I'm getting that nice broadening across the chest, externally rotating my shoulders. And if you give it a little squeeze, you might even feel your triceps working as you do this. All right, 5 more of these. Let's go. 5. Connect your breath. 4. Breathe with every movement. Inhale, exhale. That's 2. And that's 1. All right. Now we're going to move laterally. If you guys walk a lot for your exercise, you probably don't have a lot of lateral movement in your life. So let's just start by stepping and stepping back. Step laterally and step back. So we won't coach this too much. I just want you to get used to the idea that you're moving straight out to your side. So if you're square in your room, just moving in the direction of the wall on your side. Let's go 2 more of these. And then on your final one, pause with me. So now your feet are going to be wider than your shoulders. Hopefully your toes are tracking somewhat forward. Again, you're going to hinge back. It's a wide squat and stand up tall. Keep your feet wide and then just squat from that orientation. Notice how that changes a little bit in that wider orientation. It might feel better because you have a wider base of support. Now, for some of us, we're going to stay right here in this static exercise. My feet aren't moving at all, so that makes it static. If you want a little bit more challenge, you're going to make this more dynamic by squatting and then coming to your original position. Squat wide, original position. Now, go whatever speed you want. Remember, when I talk, sometimes I move just a little bit faster than I intend to. So you have a choice. You don't have to move your feet. I'm giving you options right away today. If you want to move dynamic or if you want to stay static. All right? Either one, you choose. Here's how I want you to coach yourself though. Every time you squat, your pelvis should be equally between your feet and both knees should be bending right now. So it's not a lunge with a straight leg. It's not that. It's a squat. Good. Let's go 5. And remember, if you're done squatting and you just want to rest this one out and see what happens next, that's fine too. I think we have 1 more and then we're going to meet in the middle. So we'll all meet in the middle. Now we have a narrow base of support, the opposite. Squeezing it all in, take a narrow squat and stand tall. As you go into your narrow squat, can you keep pulling your feet together, pull your calf muscles together, your inner thighs. And then if you'd like to do this with your chair, with a balance tool, or without, can you stand and lift the heels? So we'll squat and lift the heels. Little squat. Now remember, sometimes I get a little low in my squat when I'm teaching. You don't have to go as low. Just pick whatever works for you. Lift the heels, little calf and ankle strength right there. 2 more. You can hold onto a chair for balance. And then let's pause at the top. Try to squeeze everything together as you pause at the top with your heels lifted. And then lower the heel down to the ground. March it out a little bit. Maybe your heart rate is up a little bit. Mine's up. You might grab your balance tool. Again, the chair is there just to show you, but I'm going to show you use this balance tool so you can see my legs better. Put your weight in your left leg. Soft bend of the knee. We don't want to lock out at the knee. Soft bend of the knee. Lift the heel of the right leg. And then turn the knee out. And try to press the foot of the bent leg against the straight leg of the standing leg. Let your toe touch the mat. And we'll work on our balance here. Please don't lock out the standing leg. Have a bend in that knee. That's super important. There's a lot we can work on in our balance. We can work on our drishti, or our gazing point. Just looking at a point in the room where your eyes can fix. Your thoughts can go inward to your balance. You might notice that you're getting your breath under control. You might pay attention to your breath. Just another second here. And then we'll come out of our balance. Turn your knee back forward and come back into your squat position when you're ready. We're going to do this exact same work on the other side. So we don't have to do the exact same number of reps in the center here, but I want to give you another cue to think about. Can you find the front inside point on your heels, and can you drive through that point? So you're not rolling your foot in so that the edge of the foot comes off the ground, but can you just bring your awareness to that point as you drive up and stand tall? Good. Let's go one more here. And then we're just going to step to the side and step back on the mat. Step to the side and back. And your hands can be wherever you want for balance as you're stepping off. And remember, you can move a little bit faster or a little bit slower. Let's just get used to moving in this direction. Let the brain know what our intentions are. And then the next time we're going to step nice and wide. Our hips are going to go back behind your heels, squat, and stand up. So again, as you lower down, think about that logo on your t-shirt. If I was standing in front of you, can I still read that logo on your t-shirt? You can visualize or imagine your sits, the flesh on the back of your sits bones pulling back behind your heels, moving straight back behind your heels as you squat. You can stay right here in these static squats, or you can get dynamic. And then take your time, step wide and back to center. It's your choice how you begin to move through this exercise. Notice if you can keep your pelvis between your feet and both knees bend. That in itself, just getting the brain to recognize the pattern and getting that pelvis to land equally between the feet. Also, notice the foot that's stepping out. Do the toes want to turn out? If they do, my trick for this is to lead more with the heel than leading with the toe. Let's go 2. Last one, meet me in the center here. Zip it all together again. Now you have an option. You can just stay right here, heels down, or you can elevate heels up. If you want to grab onto your chair or pull it in front of you, feel free to do so. Let's go 3, 2. On the last one, can you hold it? 1. You can hold on to your balance. Lift those heels, squeeze everything together, lift and lengthen through the body, and lower it back down. March it out a little bit. tree pose on this side of the body. Grab your balance tool if you need it. Weight goes into the right leg, slight bend in the right knee. Turn your left foot out and then press the bottom of the foot against the standing leg. So left knee is out, bottom of the foot. My toe and the left leg, the bent knee leg, is touching, and that's helping my brain balance. Your hands can go wherever it feels good for you. On your chair. Maybe find that gazing point, take your eyes off the screen and look at the floor or the wall in front of you. And then just notice your breath. Keep breathing. Sometimes when we struggle to balance, we'll hold our breath to try to create stability on the inside. Allow yourself to breathe fully during your balance exercises and find your stability in the muscles, supporting the structure. And last time, slowly bring this knee back to the center, and we'll march it out before we begin the next exercise. Bring your feet together, open up the toes, now open up the heels. Let's do that again. Open up the toes, open up the heels. And then slightly open up the toes. So we're going to be wider than our hips distance space that we worked on before. And your toes can be slightly turned out here. From this orientation, I want you to pull your hips back behind your heels. So hinge at the hips, pull them back, and then lean over. So now we're in a lunge, not a squat. So this one knee is bent, this direction that I'm leaning towards, that knee is bent, and I'm leading that long leg behind. So come into this position with me, and then we're going to do those little pulses that we did before. So our hips are back behind the heel, and we're just going to press up and lower. And what I want you to feel here is that your weight is in the back side of your body here. I want you to feel it in your hamstring and your glute, so the back side of your body. If you're up on your toes or the ball of your foot, you might feel it more in your quad or your knee. So can you make that adjustment? Pause with me here. Now we can go a little bit higher, lower, press it up tall. Send your hips back and lower, press it up tall. Remember, you don't have to go as low as I do, just a little lunge. Hips back. So hips back, and then they slide back around that heel of the knee I'm bending. And then when you go to stand up, push through the heel. Remember that spot on the heel that we talked about? That inside front corner? Even though the whole bottom of the foot is making contact, that's where you're driving from. So what we're trying to do is let the back side of the body do the work and keep the work out of your knee as much as possible. 5, 4, connect to your breath. 3, go at whatever speed suits you, even though I'm counting my last 2. And my last 1. Good. Now we're going to shift our weight. Hips back first, then shift the weight over. Find the other side. So it might feel different on the other side. That's normal. And as we do these little pulses, we're just doing these pulses so you can find your distance in your feet and try to get the work more in the back side. So these little pulses help you set it up, help you find it. You're trying not to push off your toes. You're trying to drive through the heel. And let's go. Stand tall. Hip hinge back, lunge, stand tall. Now, as you're doing this work, you can add on and make it a little bit more challenging. Every time you stand tall, those hip creases come to full extension and squeeze your glutes at the top, like your glutes are squeezing you just a little taller, just a little longer. Your counter, if I'm speeding up, move at a speed that works for you. I notice that I'm speeding up. You can also drive your knuckles down and turn on your triceps as you fully extend through the arms. Let's go 3 and 2 and 1. Now, go ahead and shift side to side. And you want to keep your weight back as you shift and move from side to side. So notice one leg goes long and one knee bends. And then it does that on the other side. Still want to be able to read your shirt. You're not down here doing that work. I want to be able to read your shirt. So you're sitting back in this work. And last set. Come back up to center. Hinge yourself back up and toe heel your feet back into parallel. Take a second just to march it out. Feel where your heart rate is right now. And come into a chair pose. This is going to be a balance exercise. So if you want to bring in something to help you with your balance, feel free to bring in your chair or just hold on to it nearby. My weight is going to go into my left leg. And I'm going to have a little bend in the knee because we came in chair pose, right? We arrived in chair pose. Opposite leg, peel the heel up. I'm going to tap the toes out in front and then tap them right back in the center to regain. And then tap them out to the side, come back to center. Take your toes straight back and come back to center. This is the hard one. Reach behind and tap and come back to center. I'll show it to you from this angle one more time. Actually, stand tall, march it out. We're going to go right back into that same leg, same thing. So back into chair pose. Weight is back into the left leg again. And my right leg is going to tap forward and touch, regain my balance. Tap out to the side, touch, regain my balance. Tap back behind, touch, regain my balance. And then little curtsy, back, regain my balance, stand up tall. All right, how's that one, guys? Okay, so we're gonna do the exact same balance challenge on the other side of the body. So this time my right leg is gonna be my balance leg. Coming to chair pose. Shift weight into the right leg by peeling up left heel. Now my weight is secure, here we go. Tap forward, touch, regain your balance. Tap out to the side, touch, regain your balance. Move slower than I'm moving if you wish. Move a little bit faster than I'm moving if that serves you. Stand up, work out the quads, work out the leg a little bit. Let's go right back into the chair pose. We're going to visit that exact same exercise again. Heel up, opposite heel, touch, tap for balance. Reach, touch for balance. Back behind, touch for balance. And back behind the body and touch for balance. Stand up nice and tall, walk it out. We're gonna get a little twisty exercise going in now. So I want you to walk your feet maybe a teeniest bit wider than your hips. We're not, if you had a mat, you're not off the mat, but you're nice and wide. And you're just going to perform a squat like you did before. But this time, I want you to turn your head and look over your shoulder to the back of the room and then stand up tall. Turn your head, look over your shoulder, and then stand up tall. So just turning your head, changing your eye gaze is going to change the balance and how this feels for you. And then notice, can you turn your eyes and neck and the upper body but still perform a safe squat in the lower body? Or when you look behind, do your knees cave in and drop and go with you? Now let's pretend like there's a little surprise for you right down back of the side of your leg. I want you to pick up that surprise and hold it. Pick it up and then hold it. Notice each time you stand tall and hold it, draw the navel into the spine. Actually, when you're sitting back, you can work on drawing the navel into the spine and do this work from your core. Good. Let's twist the other direction now. Hold it, give it away. Sit back and grab it, hold it, and give it away. Sit back and grab it and give it away. So now we're rotating above the hips, getting some little twisty motions in. And we're trying to get our back and our legs to communicate now. Even though I might be twisting in my spine and picking up something and placing it somewhere else, the power, the drive, the work is happening in my legs, right? Still using my legs to pick it up. Good, we'll come to the middle. And let's do this. We're gonna march a little bit in the middle, and I want you to swing your arms. If the marching confuses it, don't worry about the marching, but I really want you to swing your arms and then notice how my head is pretty much not moving. What I'm trying to get you to do is get your rib cage to really rotate. Let the arms be the driver to let your rib cage rotate. So we want to free up your ribs. Now your hips can go a little bit too, but you want to drive it. The first thing that goes is the rib cage. So swinging the arms can really help it go. Again, if the marching just confuses it, you can just do it through the arms. The hips can move, that's okay. Just loosening up, freeing up the rib cage, letting that move independently. That's important in these twisty moves. And let's bring it back to center. You can take your stance a little bit wider. You can really play with your stance that works for you. Let's squat and look back over that shoulder and then stand tall. So the same exercise we just did before with the squat. Remember, you don't have to go so deep. When I get talking, I start to squat deeper and deeper, but I just want you to go to the depth that serves you. Everything that we do here should feel good, should feel beneficial, maybe mentally challenging or physically challenging, but not painful. And if your intuition tells you this isn't the right thing for you, then I believe your intuition. And I want you to believe your intuition too, okay? There are movements that I go to exercise classes and I just don't do. I probably could, but I don't. They don't work for me, and that's okay. All right, let's pick up that box and hold it. What do you say? Little squat. So again, as my trunk is rotating and I'm hinging over to pick it up, can I still, this is where your focus is, can you still pull your flesh of your seat back behind the heels? Can you still perform a safe squat? Or are your knees kind of collapsing and going everywhere? Are you losing it kind of in your lower body? So maintain that squat pattern in the lower body as you start to develop this twisty pattern in the upper body. If I sped up, go at the speed that works for you. Remember that. Okay, let's give it away. What do you say? Just a little twist. Bring it back. Pick it up. Hold it. Share it. Here's what I want you to visualize. Somebody in that screen, you're just giving them a present. You don't know who they are? Just give them whatever gift you want to give them. Some little extra boost, a little love, a little joy, a little compassion, a little empathy. Whatever you think that person in the screen needs, just give it to them, share it with them. We'll share the love in this class, support one another. We always have success when we're working for others, right? Let's go 2 and 1. Final one. Come back to the middle and then just let the arms swing. Let the rib cage go just a little bit more. Good. Now, this is a little bit harder stance for people to do, but I'm going to give it to you from the side. But I want you to take your toes and step them back and then hinge. So you're going to hinge your weight forward, right? So my shoulders are no longer over my hips. All my weight is in this front leg. You can hold on to a chair or something for balance. This is just a kickstand. There's not a lot of weight back there. All right. Left hand, can you go to the thigh or the chair? Right hand reaches out in front and then pull the elbow straight back and in. So your forearm is going to brush your rib every time the elbow drives back. So not only are you working as a balance in this lower leg, you're feeling the balance there, but you're getting this pull motion in your upper body. Now, close your fist, pretend like you're pulling a stretchy band. Now you're pushing like a lever. So find resistance in both phases of this movement. I like to keep my fingers open when I do this. 3 and 2 and 1. Shoulders over hips, back foot comes forward. Woo, that's a rear burner, isn't it? Just balancing. Let's find that on the other side. Weight is in the other foot. Opposite toes go back first. Remember, it's just a little kickstand. Now put the weight into that front foot. Remember that front inside of the heel? Can really place the weight there. We'll let the shoulders come forward. Opposite hand goes on the thigh or on something for balance. And then we're just gonna reach and pull on this opposite side. So the weight doesn't shift as my arm, sorry, I'm gonna talk to the microphone. As the arm moves, I don't want my weight to shift into the back leg. I'm on this front leg the whole time. So finding full extension and then drive the elbow back. The forearm is brushing right along the rib cage as you do that, but create some tension as if you're imagining you're pulling a stretchy TheraBand or pushing along. So find the resistance in the work, both directions. And that's the last one. Hips, our shoulders go back over the hips, come back up into standing. Take your feet and spread them wide again. I like using this method to get my feet wide. Bring your hands together and make a pointer finger. All right, we do this when we shoot around. So it's kind of like that. Bring your pointer fingers forward so your arms, so your hands are level with your shoulders, and give me the slightest bend in the knees. Now bend at the elbows, tap your shoulder with your fingertips and look at your fingertips. Now point and look at your fingertips out in front. Fingertips to the other shoulder, and then point, look at your fingertips in front. Let's just go back and forth, point, fingertips go forward, point. So you're getting a little neck rotation here. We're challenging the muscles of the eyes as we look close up at the fingertips, and then we look far away. All kinds of little benefits to this little point and shoot rotational work. The muscles in our neck, not only the rotation, but the muscles in our neck. Last time, point. And then when you finish, hands go in the hips, turn the toes out just a little bit. On this one, we've done this before. As the knees bend, the knees want to track over the second and third toe. And you don't want to take your your shoulders forward. You want to try to keep the shoulders over the hips like you're on a carousel or like you're sliding your back down a wall. So we're just going to do these squats, these horse squats, thinking about sliding your back down the wall. That's the one thing I want you to keep in mind. And the knees, they don't want to roll into the inside of the foot. So keep the piggy toe mound and the outside edge of the foot on the ground as the knees track forward. Really squeeze inner thighs as you go up. This routine that we're doing, this is a baseline. This week and next week is a baseline. Each week, I'm going to add on ways to make this exercise, these exercises dynamic and ballistic. So this is just a static version. Now stay low with me. Stay low right here. Bring your hands together. Lift a heel and then lower the heel with control. Lift one heel, lower with control. Lift your heel and lower. A couple more times here. I'm going to talk to you about this workout. If you're sore, if you really got into your back body and nailed it, you might be a little sore in your bum or your hamstrings tomorrow, or even the next day. Let's switch the other heel. If you have to come out of this, just come out. That's okay. Otherwise, lift and lower. So it can sneak up on you. Because we're moving in these lateral directions and these external rotated hips, you might feel some soreness. If you have more soreness in your quads, then that's an indication that we need to get the work into the back and pay attention to those cues to get the work in the back more. I don't know, is this 5 or 6? We got to be close. Press out. Woo, that's a hard one, isn't it? in more, and then circle through your hips. Big, juicy hip circles. Take them in the other direction. So for example, I don't want anybody to do this. I want you to keep hip circling, but that exercise, that would be an example of where we could go with a more dynamic version. We will get there week 6, 7, and 8. Right now, we're just doing our juicy hip circles. Toe, heel, your feet together. Circle, sweep your arms up. Inhale. On an exhale, just swish your arms and then just bend in a little chair pose. Stand up tall, breathe in. Exhale, swish. Inhale it up. Exhale, move at your own speed. In through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Fill up with that spring air. Exhale, and let it go. And that concludes our first round of class today. Functional movement, like I said, this is the baseline. We're going to keep adding on to it.